wet set hair tutorial for longer hair. This is the second one in a small series that I'm doing while my hair is too long to do much with vintage styling. And this just kind of shows you what a vintage set will do on longer hair, so that whenever I get my hair cut into a proper horseshoe cut, you will be able to see the difference in what it does and how it responds to the curls. So you're not completely off limits when it comes to vintage styling and longer hair. There were some stars in the olden age that had longer hair, like Veronica Lake, but you can't really expect that long, heavy hair is going to respond to a wave pattern the same way that a shorter haircut would. So my hair is very fine and very straight. To those of you who have not seen my channel before, I actually typically have long, like shoulder length hair, and that's kind of my ideal length. But today my hair is really, really long, past the frame even, comes to here. And that is really long for me because I don't typically wear my hair long. My hair doesn't look good long, and so I don't really typically do it long. Lately I've just been wearing it in a ponytail a lot because I work in retail and in cosmetics, and I have to keep my hair back. But that's beside the point. So today we're going to do a foam roller set, and I'll do one more video featuring a combination of bendable, flexible rollers and perm rods, so you can see the way those respond. Typically, in my opinion, perm rods are the prettiest wave that you'll get for longer hair, but they're not as easy to sleep in. So the flexible rollers are a little better for sleeping, but we'll get to that in the next video. So the first thing I'm gonna do to get my bangs taken care of first and foremost is I've moistened my bangs and kind of lifted them a little bit with setting lotion solution. This setting lotion solution is Lotta Body setting lotion with a little bit of water. Actually, it's more water than Lotta Body. And I'm actually gonna take the front portion of my hair, which is my bangs, and I don't want them to be featured in this style. We're gonna feature them in the next one. But in this one, I don't want them featured. I'm going to actually wrap this around my fingers and pin curl it backwards into a stand-up pin curl. And I've got most of my bangs in this one little section, and then I'm gonna clip it to my head. And some of it's gonna probably come loose, so I'm just going to kind of work that in and just make sure I have this one out of the way curl right on the top. And then I'm going to take the hair behind it and sort of grab it with a sectioning brush or comb, something with a tail on it. I am not as neat at this as people who are stylists, I've noticed, but you know, I only do my own head. Okay, so I'm going to take this section, this is a pretty long section, and I'm going to moisten it really well with the same setting lotion solution. I'm going to hold my hair straight up off my head, and the roller is going to actually aim back as far as possible. And it's going to be up as straight as possible. So you're not going to see the top part, it's going to be way out. But I'm actually wrapping the ends of the hair around the roller first, and then I'm starting to use the roller to pull the hair straight down. And this is actually a little bit too wide for this roller. This roller is really only about 2 inches wide, so that the hair at the base should actually be less than this, but it'll still be all right, I think. And I'm taking this and pulling it down. Generally, you can use larger rollers, but I feel like that the look that I like to have is a little bit, I have to have a little tighter curl. And now I've got this one done. We're going to do a roast going straight back on the top for this set. But I'm going to take this curl roller, because the clip is sitting right on top, it can tend to dent the hair. So I'm going to take the clip and actually clip it to my head. Yeah, so it makes it stay right there. And you can see a little bit of the hair is falling off the edge. There's a reason for that. It's because it's a little too wide for the roller. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing behind it. I'm going to section off another little piece behind it. Probably need to go a little narrower than last time. Okay, lifting it up. Grabbing another roller. The roller that I use is this diameter. It's the medium size that comes in most sets. I actually like this one better for my hair. Okay. And unless it's sitting right on top of my head, I don't tend to do the clipping it to my head thing every time. I don't do that with all the hair. I do that with the hair that's going to be on the very top, like right at my part or right at the front of my head. Okay, so this one back here I'm not going to do that with, but I'm going to take the hair right underneath it and do another one. That's a little too much hair for my hair being as long as it is, so keep that in mind. If you have longer hair, especially if your hair is thicker than mine, you're going to need to make sure that you do not overdo how much hair you add onto the roller, because the more hair you have, the thicker it's going to be on the roller, the longer it will take to dry. So this one, I'm going to just kind of do it out to the side so you can see it. So you're rolling it straight down to the scalp, right here, and then clamping it in place. And it should stay put pretty well. These clips hold pretty well. All right, and I'm gonna do another one underneath that one. So we're basically doing what they call the bull pattern, I think is what this is called in hairstyling school. It's where you're doing like a straight row of rollers down the center of your head and then rollers that go downward on both sides of your head. And this is something that older ladies have been doing for years. When I get about halfway down the back of my head, I don't go all the way to the nape, because what I'm going to end up doing is grabbing some hair from the sides of my head and just sort of rolling them willy-nilly, because that's just kind of the way I've always done it. So I've got setting lotion, spray. You can use a standard setting spray like the one by Suavecito if you want. I used to have a great one from Layrite that I used in my older videos. I haven't had that in years, but it was a good product, and it actually didn't smell really manly, so I just continued to use it until I couldn't get it anymore. So typically when you see me start my video with my hair already set in rollers and then take it down on camera, this is the standard set that I use with foam rollers. Sometimes I don't put the foam rollers down the center of my head at all. I simply do a row, like a halo of rollers around my head, because I want to keep the crown completely flat. But I wanted more volume on the top today, so that's why I've done it this way. So that is what I do to the back, and I only carry it about to this roller here. I'm not going to go all the way down to the nape of my neck, because like I said, I'm just going to split the hair in half, especially it being as long as it is, and I'm going to roll the rest of it out this way. It just makes it a little easier. Okay. And I'm taking it, wrapping the ends around the roller. And Miss Victory Violet had a really cool suggestion. She's a hairstylist, so I trust her implicitly. But she actually takes a rat tail comb and just kind of does this around the edge of the roller, just to make sure you work any kinks out that are there. I think that would especially be good for you girls that have textured hair and your hair isn't slick and straight. Mine is really slick and straight, so I don't find that I have to do that too much. It doesn't typically kink out too much on me, but I can totally see that being a great call for people who have texture in their hair and have a tendency for frizzy hair. So I'm just using my discretion for each one, and I'm probably going to speed through the rest of this because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes again like the last one was. So that's all I'm going to say on this side, and I will catch you on the flip side. Side of my head. And something I wanted to mention that I noticed while I was rolling my hair is just the manner that you wrap it around the roller. I've done a video called How I Roll where I actually show you specifically how I roll my hair, just like the actual technique I use to roll it. One of the things for sponge rollers that I think is so important to remember is that these are soft for a reason. They are comfortable, but also as the hair dries, the roller expands. So you need to make sure that the hair is wrapped tightly around the roller. Do you see how the roller is compressed in the middle? Now this one is old and so it's all like hairy and out of whack. But an example, if the hair is not compressed around the roller, then as the roller, or as it dries, it's not going to take the curl as well. So you do need to make sure that the hair is very tightly wound around the roller so that as it dries and the roller expands, your curl will maintain its shape. This is especially important if you're planning to sleep on your roller set, because if you sleep on a roller set and you don't have the rollers tightly wound, then, as you probably may know from past experience, and I definitely found that out pretty quickly, it will crush the curl because you're sleeping on, because the foam roller is already at its soft stage, and so when you lay down on it, it just kind of breaks the curl as it sets. So you're going to end up with kind of crushed curls. So that's important to note as well. That's not as much of a problem if you're not sleeping on the set. Like, I'm not sleeping on it today. I'm going to just use a dryer. But yeah, that's important to note as well. Okay, hold on. So this is the set after it's completed. You can see the back is kind of neither here nor there. It just kind of goes down the back. And there's probably a few stray pieces that I missed as I was rolling it in. But this is the set. It's just rollers all over the head, some aiming back, and of course my bangs are pin curled back, because rolling bangs is difficult to do. So that's that. And I will be back as soon as this is dry to do the styling. Bye. Famous? Go be famous? No. Okay. All right, so this is dry now. So I'm going to start unrolling. I checked with the hair that would have been the hardest to dry, which was the hair that was farthest from the top of the dryer. It's dry. Okay, so I'm going to start taking off the curlers from the bottom first, but I'm going to take these off with a little bit more purpose. So I'm wrapping them, unwrapping them, from the bottom up. So of course, because the setting lotion spray was predominantly on the ends of the curls, the ones closer to the head are a little bit looser. That is typical. And that's because I want the hair that's closer to the scalp to dry. And if you spray it really moist all the way to the scalp, obviously because it's closer, it's on the inside of the roller, it's going to take longer for that to dry. So I'm going to continue to unwind these from the bottom up. Okay, so I have the teasing brush that I used to section my hair earlier, and I'm going to do these ones as I release them closer to the top. I'm going to just apply a tiny bit of backcombing to that particular section. So not all the ones on the bottom, because I don't really care to have a whole lot of volume on the bottom, because that's going to be there anyway because the curls are falling to the bottom. But each one that I release, I'm going to lift it as I release it and just apply a tiny bit of backcombing right there at the root, just to give it a little extra lift. And when I brush through this, I'll just brush the top closer to the root a little bit more lightly. So the top of this style should be not as voluminous as some people, I'm sure, would consider volume, but a lot for me. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to start to brush through the curls. And because I'm not going to focus on the roots, because they're kind of got some teasing going on, the majority of the brush out process is going to be on the ends of these curls. And I feel like this set took really well for the length of my hair. I feel like this is pretty much exactly what I hope to get whenever I do a foam roller set. Okay, and instead of doing because there's this volume at the crown that you can kind of see, I'm actually going to just brush this hairstyle back And like I said, the finished product will be a little bit more 50s and not quite as formed and structured because we're not doing a lot of, we're not going to do a hard part on this one. So when I get to the top to hide my bangs and make it where they're not quite as obvious, I'm going to spray it whenever it gets to a point that I like it. And so that that will be held while I brush the rest of it, I'm spraying it back like this. And then pin it, use a clip right here to sort of hold that volume right there while I finish brushing out this section. Brushing out the rest of it can pull this and deflate it because my hair's longer. If my hair was of a different length, then as I brushed it, I feel like all of this would be a little bit more behaved. But I like the look of this wave right here, so I'm actually going to continue to work with that. Now that the curls are starting to release a little bit and soften up, I'm just going to focus on that. And I'm going to take individual sections and brush them against my hand, as opposed to brushing an entire side against my hand to kind of give it some, a lot of times you'll want to do more of like a page boy effect so that it's all like one solid piece, but instead of doing that, I'm going to actually take individual sections of the curls and brush those against my hand. But as you can see, when your hair is not cut in layers that frame the face, this longer length will inevitably pull down to the bottom. You will not usually be able to get as much of that waterfall effect that you see in, like, you know, classic cinema, that waterfall effect that the ladies had. You won't get as much of that because you've got all this weight down here at the bottom, and the curls are going to do that. There's just no way around it. And that is what a foam roller set does on my longer hair now. So this is the finished style. This is the top, side. Looking a little frizzy right there, but that's okay. We can easily work that out. Side, side, back. And without a proper set, without a proper haircut, what this does is not what I like, in the sense that the curl is present all the way through. Because it's not cut into the layers on the bottom, it doesn't stack. The curls don't stack. They stay all the way through. And to me, that's not what I'm after. So that's why, even though this is very pretty, I don't think that I would ever be happy with keeping it this length or this with this particular type of haircut. So yeah, hopefully you guys like this. This is obviously showing you the difference between what foam rollers will do with my hair and what a pin curl set will do with my hair. To see what the pin curls did, you can look at the prior video. The curls are just a little looser with a pin curl set, and I feel like they actually have, they feel a little more firm. They feel a little more structured. There's something about the way that a pin curl set dries that actually feels a little bit more sturdy. But this is, this actually comes in a little curlier, but a little softer, if that makes sense. And okay, we'll see you next time. I'm going to do, with my bangs, I'll actually keep my bangs down. I'm going to do a perm roller, or a perm rod and flexi rod set next. And that will be the last one I do before my haircut. And hopefully that will be soon. Thank you.